Lovely. Okay, welcome to our Tuesday session of a gentle movement and a nice big stretch. Are we ready? Let's start with the neck. You know, I like to start with the top. So taking your ear over to one shoulder, lifting it up and switching over to the other side. Up and over. Up and over. Lovely. Bringing it over to one side and then rolling it round the front semicircle to the other side. And then just keep rolling through that front semicircle. Doesn't have to be like your biggest ever move. It's more just easing into the stretches, feeling where it feels tight, where it might feel more relaxed. Lovely. One more to each side. And then we're going to hold it ear over to one shoulder. With the opposite hand, I want you to push away. You can push onto the floor if you wish to. And then place your hand, same arm, and bring the shoulder down. Just place the hand on top. You don't need to push down with your hand. Just the weight of your hand just applies that little bit more pressure to deepen the stretch. And breathe. Lovely. Lift the hand up. Head comes up over to the other side. Hand goes back on and pushing away with the opposite hand. And just feeling that side of your neck just stretching out and lengthening. Lovely. Lift the hand up, lift the head up. Lovely. I want you to turn your head so your nose comes down in line with your nipple, and then place your hand back up. And this will be stretching the side of the neck, but slightly more round to the back. Lovely. And lift, taking it up. Switch, nose comes down in line with your neck, the other nipple, and the head goes down. And then just place the hand down. Got hair all over me. Lovely. And hand comes off, lifting up. This time we're going to do head directly down. Insink the fingers just over the top and then just place your hand on. Make sure you keep your pelvis nice and neutral here. And just feeling the stretch all down the back of the neck. If you want to here, you can turn your head from side to side again. Just releasing any tension in the back of the neck. Lovely. And then lifting the head back up. Just going to move our shoulders around before we do our next stretch, just to get a bit of blood going. So hands on shoulders, and we're just going to pedal them around, taking them round, backwards. Lovely. And reverse, taking it forwards. Lovely. Just getting all of the shoulders moving around, warming up. Fabulous. Good. And relax. From here, I'm just going to do my upper body. So keep my lower body still and just twist around with my one side and back to the center and the other side. Now, you don't necessarily need to go like, I always really want to take it a lot further than my body allows me to. But just twisting as best you can. You feel a twist in your back. Oh. Taking it as far as you can. Once more on each side. Lovely, good. From here, interlinking the fingers at the front, separating the shoulder blades by gently pulling on the arms. So you're kind of like holding like this big beach ball kind of shape. And then just take your gaze down to the floor. Just stretching out all of the upper back here. Lovely. Good. And then release. Good. From here, I'm going to start with my right hand. I'm going to take my right hand in towards my tummy, like kind of at the bottom of my ribs. Kind of, there's my belly button. There's the bottom of my ribs. So it's just at the bottom of my ribs, just slightly above my belly button. And then I'm going to take my hand out and keep my elbow in. Then I take my hand behind my head and then flicking it up and over and taking it back in. So this movement is going in, out, behind, up and over. in, out, behind, up and over. And basically, as we do this movement, it's warming up all of like these small little muscles that are in our rotator cuff in our shoulder. Out, behind, up and over. Last one. Out, behind, up and over. Let's switch it over to the other side. So hand goes in, pull the elbow in, slightly serving dinner, take it behind your head and flick up and over. In, out, behind, 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 up and over. Yes, it just warms up all of the little muscles all inside your shoulder in that joint. Lovely. Last one. In, out, behind, up and over. Lovely. So we should feel nice and warm and a little bit more movement in our shoulders. So I'm going to take myself over onto kind of like onto all fours, but I'm going to bring my arms out. I want to keep my knees directly over my hips. And I'm just going to slide my hands forward and bring my chest to the floor. Oh, as close to the floor as I can get it. So I'm sticking my butt out at the back. And I'm just stretching, stretching, stretching. And you should feel the stretch all across your upper back. I'm just going to breathe it here. Lovely. Now from here, I'm going to take myself onto spider hand. So I bring my fingers to the floor and then push up. So it's slightly deeper stretch. You might feel this more in the shoulders. Lovely. One more breath here. And then relax the hands. And I'm going to drop my butt down towards my ankles and really tuck my tailbone down. And this will just help, and forehead goes to the floor. This will just help to open up my lumbar spine and my lower back, just opening all that up. Lovely. Taking myself up onto all fours. Making sure my knees are directly underneath my hips, wrists are directly underneath my shoulders, and I'm going to do my little cat-cow positions. So first off, I'm going to start with my pelvis. And I want us to start and think about the spine as a whole. So right, your tailbone right at the bottom, that's going to tuck down. Then work up one vertebra at a time, rounding it over through the middle of the back, upper back, and then all the way into the neck, looking down and really pushing up. Separating the shoulder blades, tailbone pushing down, and then let's take it reverse, starting with the tailbone. The tailbone starts to lift up and away through the small of the back, middle of the back, upper back, squeeze the shoulder blades together, looking up to the sky. And then tucking it back under, start with the pelvis, rounding it down, all the way down to the neck, squeezing the pelvic floors, tummy button pulling up in towards the spine, and then opening out the other way. Lovely. Imagine your tailbone is trying to reach the top of your head. Lovely. And let's do some with inhales and exhales. So inhale as we look up to the sky. Exhale as we roll down and under. And inhale. Looking up, exhale, tailbone under, inhale. Squeeze the shoulder blades, exhale. Separate the shoulder blades once more, in and out. Lovely. And then let's roll the rib cage round in a circle. You can feel this through your intercostal muscles. This will be in between your ribs, or in your shoulders, or in your hips. You can kind of feel this a little bit of everywhere. It feels really nice. Change direction, taking it the other way. You can take your head with you as well. Lovely, good. And then taking yourself back to a straight back position. Oh, let me just quick shuffle myself around. Okay, so we're still on our all fours. So I'm going to do a little bit more in the shoulders to separate the shoulders, but it's also a bit of a chest one. So I'm going to lift up one hand and I'm going to thread it through the gap. So I've got my leg at the back and my other hand still holding me up, and that is going to thread through all the way so that my ear touches the floor and my shoulder touches the floor. And I should feel the stretch as it takes my shoulder blade that little bit further round. Lovely. And then gently lifting it back up, unthread. I'm going to take it all the way up and open. So I'm really opening out in my chest. And then when I'm here, I'm going to do a big circle forwards. 1, 2, 3, and then change direction. 3, 2, 1. And you should just feel that all in the chest, and then we're going to thread it through again. Thread it through, shoulder comes down, ear comes down, and up and over. And circle 1, 2, 3, change direction, 3, 2, 1. Last time, threading it through, really getting into that shoulder. Oh, feels so good. And then up and open. And circle 1, 2, 3, change direction, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. Bring the hand back down and we're going to switch hands. Opposite hand, threads through the gap, shoulder comes down, ear comes down, and really feel like your shoulder blade is really separating and feeling that lovely stretch. All those little muscles around your shoulder blade. Lovely. And then pulling it back up, opening it out the other way. Feel that stretch in the chest. And then let's do our lovely circles for 1, 2, 3, change direction, 3, 2, 1, and then thread the arm back through to bringing the shoulder to the floor, ear to the floor. Lovely. Lifting it all the way back through and open and circle. 1, 2, 3, change direction, 3, 2, 1. Final thread through, threading it through, reaching your hand away as far as possible. Lovely. Oh, such a beautiful stretch. Taking it up and open, opening up that chest and circle. 1, 2, 3, change direction, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. And then taking yourself back to that all four position. From here, I'm going to take my knee through in between my hands. And then I'm going to take my other leg, a little shuffling it back. I want to try and keep my hips as square to the front as possible. And I'm just going to bring my foot towards my pelvic, towards my pelvis, and sink down as best I can. Now, depending on where it feels tight, you might feel this more in your hip flexor here, or you might feel it in your butt cheek on the bent knee. If it feels very difficult to hold this position, you might want to grab a cushion or a block or a book or a box and put it underneath your butt cheek, which is bent. And this will help you sink into it a little bit deeper because it'll help you to stay upright. If you feel really comfortable in this position, you can actually take it a little bit deeper by taking your foot further away from your pelvic, all the way up to being 90 degrees if you wish to, so in line with your knee. But you want to make sure that your hips are still square to the front, not twisting and opening out. So we're just going to hold it in this position first. We're just going to stay upright and just breathing and relaxing into the stretch. Lovely. And breathing in. Exhale out. Breathing in. Exhale out. Lovely. I want you to fold yourself forward over your front leg and maybe bring your forehead down to the floor. Hands reaching out overhead. And just relaxing and breathing. Lovely. Just letting your muscles lengthen, relax, deepen into the stretch. One more breath here. Breathing it in. And gently exhaling out. Lovely. Gently lifting yourself back upright. And then from here, I'm going to bend my back knee and bring it so it's in line with my hip. And then make sure that my foot is at a right angle. So my leg is at a right angle here. And then with my other foot, I'm going to take that into a right angle as well. So I become in like a stacked position. So I'm in a right angle and my legs are in a right angle. And then from here, I want to try and keep my hips facing forward as best I can. This isn't always easy because it's an awkward position, but we do our best. We're going to lift up, lengthening up the spine. And then I'm going to fold myself forwards. And I'm going to use my chest to push my knee down into the floor. And you should feel a lovely big stretch down the outside of your thigh and into your glute or your butt cheek on your front leg. If you can bring your forehead down to the floor. And we're just going to relax. And feel that lovely big stretch. You might feel it a little bit in the hamstring as well here. Just lengthening out that muscle, letting it ease, relax, and really helping it to lengthen out so it doesn't cause any knots or any tension in that area. Lovely. One more breath here. And then gently, gently bringing yourself back up. Fabulous. Bringing yourself over onto the other side. So I'm going to start on all fours. And I'm going to be bringing through my knee in between my hands and send my other leg backwards. So I'm in my pigeon pose. I'm trying my best to keep my hips square. And again, if you might feel that you're a bit tense on one side more than the other, and you might have been fine on the first side, but you want a little cushion on the second side, that's absolutely fine if that's the case, because often we'll have used some muscles more than others just because we tend to do things one-sided because it's easier. And because we do things by autopilot. So some muscles get used more than others on one side of the body than the other. So just relaxing into this position first. And again, you're welcome to take your foot closer to your pelvic floor for a slightly easier position, or further away if you'd like it to be a little bit deeper into the stretch, depending on how warm you're feeling, depending on how tight that muscle is feeling. And again, you might feel this more in your hip, this on your straight leg, or you might feel it in your butt cheek on your bent leg, or you might feel in a bit of both. I've got a little bit of both today, actually. I know some people who never feel this in their butt, but for me, this is such a lovely stretch for my glutes. But some people only do this for their hips, whereas for me, this doesn't stretch my hips normally as much. Although they are feeling quite fat today, so I'll admit I am using them a little bit today. Lovely. And now we're going to fold ourselves forward. So bringing your hands out, we're going to reach them forward as we lean ourselves over that front leg. If you can, bring that head down. Think about lengthening the spine as you're folding over. And just breathing, feeling your muscles relax and lengthen. Some people believe that we hold a lot of negative energy in and around our hips. and in our butts, in our glutes. So stretching it out and just giving it some attention just helps to release any kind of negative energy that we might be holding on to, even if we didn't even realize that we were holding on to it. So if I'm ever feeling particularly stressed out or emotionally a little bit more tense or emotionally very fragile, I'll often do stretches for my hips and in my butt as well. So all my glute stretches I tend to do as well. Lovely, big deep breath. Inhaling and exhaling. And inhale and exhale. One more breath. And letting it all go. Lovely. Gently lifting yourself back, up, upright. And then we're going to bend the back leg and bring the knee round. And again, I want to keep it so that my knee is in line with my hips and then my foot stays in line with my knees, so it's at a right angle. And I'm going to repeat the same with my front leg. So it coming straight out and then in front. So I'm in my stag leg position with all the right angles. And from here, lengthening up through the spine, drawing up through the top of your head, and then fold myself forward, bringing my chest down onto my knee if I can, and then push my knee in towards the floor. And this will deepen the stretch. And I'll be feeling the stretch on the underside, so the side that's hitting the floor, that's sat on the floor, that butt cheek and the outside of that leg. And you might feel it a little bit on the hamstring as well. And as it feels more comfortable and your body starts to relax and ease any tension that you might be holding in those areas, you might be able to sink a little bit deeper into the stretch. And maybe even taking your forehead down to the floor. If that feels comfortable to do so, feel free to do it. If it doesn't, then don't worry. And we're just relaxing. Feeling it stretching out. And just inhaling. And on the exhalation, really feel like the muscle is lengthening and letting go and deepening into the stretch. Before inhaling again. And then doing it, repeating. Exhale. Let's do one more breath in. Inhaling in. And exhaling it back in. Lovely. And then gently come back up to an upright position. Bringing the legs back together. I'm going to do one foot out in front and I'm just going to cross my leg over. And it's basically just to access my ankle. So if this feels uncomfortable, then you can do it with a bent leg as well if you prefer and hold the leg up. But I'm going to do my leg out straight and then just cross my ankle over it. I'm going to take it so that my leg resting on the bottom leg is actually more on like my calf, so my ankle is free, so that I can lift up my ankle. And I'm just going to do some rotations with my hands. So I'm rolling it round, just holding onto my toes, rolling around in my ankle. Lovely. And then change direction, taking it the other way. If you find that the floor's getting in the way, you might want to lift up your ankle a little bit more, maybe hook it under like me. Lovely. And then I'm not going to use my muscles, but I'm just going to use my hands. So I'm not going to use my ankle muscles or my leg muscles, or my foot muscles. I'm just going to use my hands. So this should feel like you've got a floppy foot. And I'm just going to push my leg into a flexed foot. So I'm pushing it into a flexed foot. And then relaxing it back down. And then just push it down in the opposite direction and stretching out all the top of your foot, almost like you're taking it into a point. But then it should just feel nice and floppy. So it's not your ankles doing it, it's just stretching out the muscle without it being involved. Lovely. And then give it a little circle and stretch it. Lovely. Switching over to the other foot, lifting it up, either popping it on the leg or hooking it under so you can lift it up off the floor. And then we're just going to rotate our ankle round. So just gently rolling it through, taking it round. You might have quite stiff ankles. A lot of people have quite stiff ankles because this isn't something we normally stretch out, change direction. And if that's the case, that's absolutely fine. It's just being aware of that and just giving that part of your body some attention, which it normally doesn't get. Lovely. And then from here, I'm then going to just keep my foot nice and floppy, so it's got no like my muscles aren't being active at all. And then I'm just going to use my hand to make sure that I'm keeping it straight. And then I'm going to put my foot up into a flexed foot position. Just pulling it in. And then taking it down. And again, make sure that you're keeping it in line with your ankle. I'm just going to pull my toes down. So I don't want to be taking it in, so I've not got like a sickled foot. I want to keep it straight so that my foot goes directly in line with my ankle. And I'm just taking it down into a point, stretching out all the top of my foot. Lovely. And then relax. And taking it back down. Lovely. I hope you enjoyed our little stretch session from our neck, started off right from the top and finished right down towards our toes. We did a lot on the chest, opening up the chest and opening up the shoulders and in the hips and the butt as well. So a little bit of everywhere today, whole body for you. But hopefully you're feeling nice and refreshed and good to get going for the rest of your day.